Welcome and thank you for joining us today for Devotionables. These are brief devotions for busy people. If you've been keeping up with the Devotionables, you know we've been working through the Psalms. And today we're in Psalm chapter 18. It's one of my favorite Psalms. It's a long Psalm, but the opening verses are probably familiar to you. I know they're familiar to me. I pray them quite often. I recite them quite often. But let me just read for you these verses, and I hope they'll be soothing to your soul today as well. Psalm 18, verse 1, it says, I love you, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. My God, my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. I call upon the Lord who is worthy to be praised. I am saved from my enemies. You know, I don't know about you, but this life is like having your feet on shifting sand. Everything's changing. You might have something today, but it's not promised tomorrow, whether it's your health, whether it's your finances, whether it's a struggle in relationships. But I don't know about you, but these words of God's steadfast love for me are reassuring. But one of the things that as we read through the Bible, one of the, to use a seminary term, a good hermeneutical question we might want to ask ourselves is, are these verses, are they applicable to just David, or are they applicable to me as well? Because if you were to read the opening kind of introduction to Psalm 18, it's a long introduction, maybe one of the longest in all the Psalms, but it makes clear that this chapter is about King David. Let me read it for you. It says, from the choir director, a psalm of David, the servant of the Lord, who spoke to the Lord the words of this song in the day that the Lord delivered him from the hand of all his enemies and from the hand of Saul. So when you read that introduction, it's obvious that these verses are specifically about King David. So we have all of these promises that we read. It says that he sent out his arrows and he scattered his enemies. He drew me out of the waters. He delivered me from my strong enemy. He brought me forth also into a broad place, and he rescued me. From by you I can run upon a troop, and my God, I can leap over a wall. You enlarge my steps under me, and my feet have not slipped. I pursue my enemies, and I overtake them. We hear all of these promises, and there are more in this long chapter. And we ask ourselves, hey, is this just great for David, or is it great for Blake? Well, I think the key to answering that question is found in verse 50, the last words of this chapter. And here is where we have our glimmer of hope for you and I today. It says this, he gives great deliverance to his king and shows loving kindness to his anointed, to David and his descendants forever. And we read that, and we might ask another question. Well, are we descendants of David? Are we included in that? If I'm not directly in the family tree, am I still included? Well, the answer is yes. And we know that as we read other passages of Scripture. In particular, we might think of a chapter 55 in the book of Isaiah. In that chapter, we are told all of those that come to God thirsty, all of those who come to God with empty pockets, with no money to give. If you love the Lord, then the steadfast love that is given to David is given to you today. So I want you to know today, as you read Psalm 18, as you read it in the future, if you're wondering whether this psalm is about you and me or if it's just about David, I hope you'll find reassurance in knowing the promises of this chapter, that God is our stronghold. He is our fortress. He is our deliverer, our protector. Those are promises that are for you today if you've placed your faith in Jesus Christ. Thank you for joining us for today's devotionable.